All right. Welcome back, everybody. Another Tuesday night chat with the Muskrat. I'm joined tonight by Mr. Bobcat, Mr. Fishizzle of Team My Bad Dude. My Bad Dude has been on a roll this year with the online fishing tournament league, or the live fishing tournament league. And so we're going to talk to them a little bit about, I guess the biggest thing, I know I called it keys, secrets to success, but the most impressive thing is your consistency. So early on in the season, Bobcat, when you guys got bumping water and you guys can get up there and them fish are there, I mean, it's a no-brainer, man. Like, if you just spend the time up there and stay on them fish, you catch some good fish every now and then and get in it. But the thing that's impressive is, like, now you're not able to bump. You can't go and do what you normally do. You're diverse enough to be able to go find fish other ways. And so that's kind of what we're going to dig into tonight and kind of learn what it is that you guys take in consideration when you're deciding where to go and when to go and how to continuously put yourself in a competitive standing. So, but before we do that, we'll start off and say hello to everybody. We appreciate you guys stopping in. We got 22 folks here already. Where's Stan at when you need him? We got Kelly Bullock in the house. Catfish Cowboy, what's up, buddy? Pontoon Jody's in the house. Lisa, Burrito Catfish Lady's here as well. Old broadcast brother, Mr. Creole Catfishing. I believe that's Creole. I think Andrew puts Andrew on his now. Or I think he changed his altogether, the Creole Guide Service. I saw that the other day. We got Randy in the house as well. What's up, Randy? Not It Fishing is here. Bobcat pulling double duty. He's in the chat and on screen. He is he's diverse.
Buddy. Multitasking.
There you go. Nebraska Wildcats is in here along with Wabash Nate. Mr. Mike Greenwell here. Thank you, brother, for stopping in. Hey, Skip Stewart, Mr. Clearview Outdoors. What's up, buddy?
Oh, Skipper.
He's my hero. I need to start fishing with him more often. He's gonna have to let me wrangle one of these big boys in.
I'm saying what, pulling pigs out of Ohio, ain't he?
He's the only one. I'm telling you, he's got me and Zach beat on big fish on the Ohio. Right there, Smoky Mountain. What's going on, buddy? Danny, thanks for stopping in. There's Mr. Kevin Walters, Monster Cat Catfishing, channel member as well. Appreciate your support. Thanks for stopping in. Greg Burgess. Hello, buddy. Hey, I said his name 2 times, and there he is. 2 stances in the house. What's up, buddy? Thanks for stopping in. Let's see if I can get on down here. Mr. Aaron Grubb. Hey, buddy. Long time no see. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you. Crappie Dare Darren's in the house. 205 Wild Action. River Rat 3030 is in the house as well. I'm trying to get on down through there, get this show on the road. Let's see. DNA Catfishing. I don't know if I know who that is. DNA Catfishing. Well, if it's your first time, welcome in. Appreciate you stopping by. If you changed your name, we still appreciate you being here. I just got
a heck of a profile picture there about this big fatty flatty.
Yeah, that's an excellent flathead. I don't care where you're at in the country. That's a big flathead. So Don Knight's in the house. Thank you, Don, for stopping in. Appreciate you being here, brother. Paul Edmonston. Paul, is Rocky Fork open or frozen? I imagine East or North Shore might be froze, but is East Shore or South Shore open or Rocky? We were talking about got to get bait for this upcoming tournament when we can get it, because by the time February 8th rolls around, bait for us is going to be hard to get.
Yep.
We got Kevin Hendrickson in the house. What's up, Kevin? Thanks for stopping in. The guide service account is separate. This channel isn't going anywhere. There we go. Jeremy's clear as mud. Got you, brother. Jerry Parker's in the house. Woo wait. Jersey's in the house. What's going on, brother? Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you being here. Catchfish with us, another channel member saying hello. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. And if I'm missing anybody, I'm not, it's not intentional. I'm trying to scroll on down here and get this thing caught up. All right, never going to get this thing started. FOA Customs and Gear in the house. He's saying, hey, stopping through while working on catching up from North Carolina Expo. Freddie, we was this close to stopping and seeing you on our way back from Florida because we was going to be kind of passing right through there. But with the weather that was coming, it wasn't worth the gamble. Not only that, but you was at a Bass and Saltwater Expo, and I didn't feel like turning in my man card yet, so I just kept on driving.
No
Jackie,
doubt.
Jackie and I actually ended up driving almost 16 hours straight from Orlando home to keep from, and we're glad we did it because the weather here got bad. The very next day, it was real bad. Benoit Fishing's in the house. Thanks for stopping in. Waiting for them to get out on the ice. I saw they got their shanty all up and ready, rocking and rolling. Had a video out on it. It looked pretty cool. Let's see. Chris Cunningham, what's going on, Doug and I? Woo-wee. They said the OH up there, OI. Randy Royal's in the house. We got 53 people already, man. I think I've said hello 53 times, but I bet I missed somebody. And if I did, it wasn't intentional. If I catch you coming in, or if you want to say hello again, I'll catch you on the second time around. And we're already talking about getting your weight up. So I'm trying to get my weight down. All right. Ever since I got with Jackie, it's only been going up, and I gotta get it turned back around.
It happens.
I'm not as I just won't be happy anymore. So, fellas, thanks for stopping with us and hanging out.
Oh, yeah.
And first of all, congratulations on your first place sitting. However, as we was talking before the show, things could get mixed up pretty drastically. A lot, yeah, exactly. A lot can change in this next tournament. Now, I know that they haven't had a video just yet on the rules and regulations. I've seen the rules out there as far as points go. It's a football themed Super Bowl type event, field goals and all that. I totally get. Hey, there's Dale Hayslips in the house, a new member, man. Thank you, Dale. Appreciate that, buddy. Yep, keep the lights on over here. Appreciate you. Hey, there's Dad. Mom and Dad's in the house. Got a call from Mom earlier. Not doing real well. Not feeling well. Hope everything's okay. Dad, I'll try to give you a call tomorrow or maybe even after the show. Check in on her, see how she's doing. She's not doing too hot today. So love you, Mama. Just hang in there. Okay. Sorry. You got to say hi to Mama.
That's right.
She'll remind me. She brought me into this world and she will take me out if she has to.
I got mine right here beside me.
There you go. She's only 4'9", but she talks like she's 8 foot tall and bulletproof. So, man, here we going, Cowboy. Thank you, brother. Super sticker 199. We ain't seen those in a while. I thought they quit that stuff.
Yeah.
No, thanks, buddy. I do appreciate that. John Parker's in the house, real time catfishing. Thanks again for stopping in. So no, what I was saying was I don't know exactly how all the points are working in the final round. I think if I understood things correctly, you keep the points that you have now, and the next tournament for the 21 that move on to the championship, that score will add to your top 8. So you'll have, instead of a top 8 scores, you'll have a top 9 scores, including the championship round. I don't know that to be 100% true. That was my interpretation. I could be wrong, but that still leaves a lot of shaking and moving depending on how everyone does in this final tournament.
Yep.
With that being said, you guys have got.
Wave me away. He doesn't want me to be seen.
I don't know
why. It can't be.
Did you bring him an apple juice?
You don't have any apple juice.
You get in the kitchen and give me a beer.
He's trying to get beat up live. Hey, it's on camera here. He can't deny it.
Oh Lord.
2, 3, 4. So for the season.
Are you red, Brandon?
You're turning red, buddy.
Laughing. Oh,
there you go.
there you go.
Best wife ever.
Best wife ever. There you go. She's going up nominated next year. Golden Whisker Award.
Yeah.
You guys have got 5 total wins on the board right now. And, one of the reasons that you guys have been so consistent in the top running is looking at your scores. Even the tournaments you didn't win, you've got a 199, a 198, a 198, a 197, and a 196. I mean, you guys have been consistently able to find and locate these fish. And so that's kind of what my point was tonight was kind of getting into you guys' mindset when, like, for instance, last weekend, you guys were set up fishing. The weather was crap. You guys weren't doing what you wanted to do the first part of the day, and you made a move. And that move is what puts you guys on top and winning. And so I guess I'm kind of looking for, what is it that you guys are looking for or thinking about when you decide, hey, we're going to go out and we're going to try this today for this tournament, for these conditions. And, and that's really your secret to success is you guys are putting yourselves where the fish are consistently.
Yeah, I think the frustrating part about that Saturday is like at the nuke plant, like usually January, February, March, like there's a lot of big fish in that warm water. Right. And we were seeing marks all over the place. They just weren't biting like all morning.
Yeah. They were there. They just wouldn't eat. I mean, we could see them under the boat. We knew they were there, but we also knew from pre-fishing a week before that those fish didn't start eating until late afternoon.
Yeah.
So we had to wait them out. Like we knew they were there, but they weren't eating. So we made a decision to move away from it and come back later. So what was it, an hour? We went down river and fished some submerged timber.
Yeah.
And caught our first fish there. And then after about an hour of being there, we was like, should we go back? Because we knew from fishing it the previous week that the bite didn't start until late afternoon or after 1 o'clock. So
right.
We went back and we knew those fish were there. They just weren't ready to eat.
Yeah, in the wintertime, you can't be too stubborn and like wait on fish to find your baits. You got to kind of be willing to go after them and spot hop like we had to do there at the end.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Zach and I like to tend to do mostly. One, because we're not patient enough to sit on a spot for 2 hours. We're just not built that way. Yeah. But two, if the bite window is open, you're going to know it in the first 20, 30 minutes. If the bite window is not open for that area, that fish or whatever, you got to move. And in my experience, it ain't a 100-yard move. It's a big move. If the fish, like you're saying, you're sitting on fish, you know they're there, they aren't biting. And in my opinion, you got to make a big move to try to find some different fish that could possibly, be in a feeding mood. So besides the hot water, because we all know this time of year, Stan was boiling, making a cup of tea and some fresh coffee in the water he was sitting in. Yeah. So it's no secret to anyone that fishes river systems that, your warm water is going to pull some fish in. But besides that, you guys haven't been fishing that this whole time. You guys have also been doing a lot of dragging and being able to still pull fish in on those trips as well. And so, what are you guys looking for on these at this time of year? You guys mainly staying deep? Are you fluctuating deep and shallow? You trying to find a ledge that gives you best of both worlds and figure out what the fish want? Or
well, it's usually seems like with me and Bob, there's like a magic depth of between 35 and 40 where we have most of our success. But there's times, there's times we're dragging in 5 feet of water though, so just all it all depends.
We've kind of had to let the river, the flow and the water temperature and the bait kind of dictate where we've been fishing these tournaments at. I mean, we're always paying attention to what they're releasing, because when they're releasing X amount of water from the dam, it kind of makes fish do a certain thing if you're up on the lake, which I think for us, in the wintertime and where we live at, when they start moving that water through the river system like they have been, the lake's kind of it's better. Maybe there's not as many boats up there or whatever, but as long as they're moving water, the lake's been good for us. And, we've just been paying attention to where we're marking bait at, where we're seeing bait. And like Brandon said, that kind of 35 foot of water has always been a magic number for me. I don't know why. I mean, but we'll try to fish. If we're fishing ledges and we're anchor fishing structure, we'll try to target 35 feet of water, but yet where we can throw to 50 feet of water and throw shallower up on a flat that, you know, to kind of test the water. It's like, okay, we got 2 fish over here in the deep water, so let's throw more baits deeper. Let's move the boat over and go deep or whatever. So we a lot of times let the river system dictate, you know, the weather, and the river system dictate what we're doing too.
And sometimes people get too focused on like ledge fishing and fishing on structures. Sometimes with dragging, when you're covering tons of water, you can get in the center of the river channel and just pull aboard what looks like the middle of nowhere, and you'd be surprised how many 50-pounders plus we've caught just in the middle of nowhere in the channel. So we like to send those boards way out there.
Way out there. Absolutely.
Send the monster baits out there. Yeah.
And one thing I started doing this year too is paying a lot more attention to what the birds are doing and thinking more about the wind when we got wind, like, because, you know, everybody knows this in catfishing or fishing of all kinds. All fishermen should know this. When you got a lot of wind coming from a certain direction, it's going to push bait.
Mm-hmm.
The bait's going to go with the wind. So I've been paying a lot more attention to this year to the wind and what direction it's coming out of, and thinking more about focusing on sloughs and creek inlets that are on the windward side of the lake and where I know bait's being pushed into. It's like Saturday, we spotted some birds kind of working a creek entrance to the slough. And I told Brandon, I said, let's go over and look at that. And we didn't see any fish on it. We didn't really mark any fish, but because the birds were there, I thought it was worth checking out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The wind, especially on lakes, but rivers will still, it can still affect it. And what I'll add to that is watch your wind for like 3 days prior to your trip. Because what will happen sometimes is you might have a good west wind for 2 or 3 days, and then the day you decide to go fishing, you get a north wind or a south wind, and now the wind's blowing somewhere different. Am I freezing up real bad?
No, not for me.
Oh,
Not me.
my screen was freezing up. So the wind will push for 3 days, and that's where your bait's going to be. And don't get, you know, just kind of like Zach and I, we have a habit of we're fishing every day in our head. We're looking at the water. I'm sure you guys are the same way. You're looking to see what the water's pumping out, the wind's done, and you're sitting there thinking, I wonder if the fish are missing me too.
Yeah, indeed.
Then the bumping tournament was an obvious selection. So picking Bob, who was a previous angler of the year and a master bumper, so we knew we'd have that one on lock.
And since we're talking about that, let me share this with you. I've been thinking about this all week.
I'm going to add to
The
that.
first time that I knew I wanted Brandon as my fishing partner in this league was when we were fishing one of Jody's Friday night things.
Yeah.
And guess who was winning? J-Dog was winning. And we needed like 1 pound to win. And Brandon whips out a box of red worm. And we go down to this place where they load scrap metal, and he puts a little tiny hook on and starts fishing for channel cats to get that 1 pound.
I just needed a couple pounds.
I said, I got to fish for this guy. Anybody that's willing to channel cat somebody to win a tournament.
Yeah, I've got that competitive streak in me for sure.
Hey,
I mean,
we
that's
go to Sandusky. We go to Sandusky Bay to catch channel cats, and the catfish world hates us for it.
I mean, J-Dog was just livid.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, J-Dog is going to give you a hard time no matter what, but he's got nothing but love and respect for you guys, I'm sure. But
I was laughing my butt off.
The last bumping for Biggins.
It was
me
in
and
the
Zach.
spawn.
Huh? No,
Was
it
in
was
June or something like that.
I don't think so. I'd have to look at the date. Me and Zach ended up taking first, and I took second. We bumped in the same boat against each other.
Oh, that's right. And where were you guys?
And Skip, bless his heart, Skip was standing between me and Zach, but didn't catch a fish.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible. We were on the Ohio River, That's one of the things. Like we try to. I know me and Jackie, because her birthday, we did travel out of state, and a tournament happened to be that weekend. We try to stay on Ohio water, just because it's more of a pride thing than anything. Everybody knows the Ohio River can be pretty tough, but we feel like if we can go out and be consistent on the Ohio, that's good enough for us. We don't have to win anything, but just being consistent is good enough for us. Uncle Lou's in the house. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, we know we're blessed to be in a great fishery.
Yeah. There's some good places. I talked to James yesterday, on his way back from Louisiana, and he's like, if I can move, and he's like, I've never seen fish like that. I said, you're on the Tennessee River. And
I'd like to move down there for the winter and come back here about March.
Exactly. I don't think I can handle it down there in the heat.
No, I don't
I'm
want
a
that
wimp.
heat.
I can handle cold 10 times easier than I can handle the heat. So, our planned trip to Louisiana is going to have to be very strategic.
Yeah, I don't know who would go all the way to Louisiana just to win a catfish tournament. I mean,
there are guys that are competitive enough,
Yeah.
My bad, dude.
Or to not win one.
Not to win one. Yeah, that's the worst.
It's a shame James drove all the way down there and didn't beat us by 0.1.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I was pulling for him genuinely to do well down there, and I know he did well when he got back and had the gumbo with Creole. And Creole's dad was awesome. I can't tell you what it meant to me to hang out with him. He was cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely on our bucket list. Roger, down here, if you see birds diving, that's where the speckled trout and redfish are. All right, Greg, I appreciate that. This experience of hanging out with those guys, I'm sure, is worth the drive. Zach's already scheming. He talked to Jeremy earlier this week. He's like, let's see, exactly where do I stay? What hotel do we need? How far is it? He's like, Roger, it's only 15 hours. He said, you just drove 15 and a half hours back from Florida. It ain't that big a deal. Well, I guess you're right. But so what about bait this time of year? Because I mentioned just a minute ago, for us, most of the places we can get into, so there's going to be huge parts of our river we can't even fish because there's no boat ramps accessible. They're all in marinas and stuff that are going to be frozen solid if they're not already. And that's also where a lot of our bait is. And so it's going to be a struggle for us to come up with some good bait. What's that look like for you guys down there this time of year?
It's been tough this year.
Yeah, it's skipjack are non-existent anywhere where we've been trying. And we've done really good fishing with bluegill, though. So if we can go down on the river and load up on 20 or 30 of those, that's pretty key. And I've been with Bob, like shooting docks a few times and kept a few nice crappie that we use for bait. I really need to get my live scope rigged up again. I don't even have it on the boat right now just because it was kind of in the way and I wasn't using it. But one of the best things you can do with that thing is cast net shad and know exactly where to throw the net. You can see the net fall and pull it before it gets into any snags. So it's incredible.
Yeah. It's definitely a good tool for getting bait.
Yeah. You've got the Garmin though, right, Brandon?
Yeah, I have the Garmin. I've got the original live scope that came out that I bought in like 2020.
Was it the LV 32?
Yeah, the 32. Yeah, I got the 32.
I think they went to a 34. Now I think they're up to something else now. They just keep going faster and faster.
No telling.
Yeah, we were trying to cast net shad when last Friday in the back of the slough, and like we were reading off the stern transducer, and by the time we'd get past the bait ball, we'd have to back up. And, Brandon's boat is 24 feet, and he's standing on the deck, and I'm trying to drive the boat. And when you first see the bait ball, it's like 24 feet away. So I'm like throwing it in reverse, trying to back over this wad of bait, and it was pretty fun.
Just drive in reverse.
Yeah, That would be a good way to do it.
But
So-
his rod racks stick up so high that like it's hard to throw off the stern. Well, I guess you could throw off the bow.
Yeah, go
You're driving
have him
reverse.
stand off the bow and then use a trolling motor and just drive
Yeah.
in reverse. Once you see the fish, you just count a couple seconds and let it. Actually, you go ahead and send it, because if you're in more than 10, 15 foot of water, by the time it sinks at that rate, you'll be over the fish. That's what we're having a hard time with. Is Zach's got the Humminbird live, whatever, Mega Live.
Yeah,
It's not the greatest. We're still trying to figure it out. Even if it was great, I don't think we'd be any better. But we're still trying to figure out like the distance and timing, how long you need, how long it takes to sink rate and all that stuff. It's a little bit. It actually probably cost us more time than it saved us so far, because we're still trying to learn it.
Oh yeah.
But once we get to the point where we're consistent with it, I'm sure it'll be.
Yeah, look at Creel's comment there. I bet you that was tough. That thing comes up about the waist on me.
Yeah, and that's the only downside I will say about a Hughes craft is that the very front, the bow of that boat is extremely small. You don't have much room to work up there. It's probably my biggest gripe. It might be the only gripe I got, but it's the biggest gripe I got for those boats is that you don't have no room up front to throw a net. Let's see.
I think that's why I've always liked the center console, where there's nothing in the way on any side of the boat.
I always thought I would like the center console, and it turns out I didn't.
It has its advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah. Well, I hardly ever fish alone, so that's probably the biggest problem. Is especially with my health stuff going on, and I don't get into that, but I don't fish alone 99% of the time, and so having to share a center console seat with somebody, or having to take a fold-out chair and pop a fold-out chair up, which generally causes somebody to trip. Well, it causes me to trip. Hang on, Joshua. I'm getting you set up here real quick.
Brandon's boat is just one giant trip hazard.
Is that it?
Yeah, he called my boat a floating dumpster.
Yeah, I did last weekend.
What?
Just garbage all over the floor. I said, this thing's just a floating dumpster. It's like balls of old braids just kind of drifting around the bottom of the boat.
He's the organized one, and I'm the one that'll show up like the day of the tournament and be like, "Oh, we got to tie some leaders and get these things ready in 5 minutes."
Yeah,
nah,
we're kind of like yin and yang when it comes to how we work.
That's
I'm like, if something's not working in the boat, I'm like frantically trying to fix it, and Brandon just sits down and eats a Pop-Tart.
Yeah, like I do not care.
I'm like, dude, we gotta fix this.
Yeah. Me and Zach are we're pretty much identical, man. If something's wrong, he's on it trying to figure it out. I'm looking stuff up, trying to troubleshoot it and help figure it out faster. But at the same time, having that balance between a couple folks. I've been on a boat before with a guy that just totally flipped out on me. This is a long story, so I'll make it quick. But we got in a bad situation, and he was putting his life jacket on. He was jumping in the river. He was done. Over.
Oh man.
I was like, no, man, we got to work through this. We got to figure this out. And he thought the boat was going down. We was going down. He wasn't waiting for it. He's out. And I was like, whew. Obviously that didn't happen, but yeah, there's definitely a good time to have that balance of yin and yang to calm each other. I had to slap him one time.
I don't know if it was Brandon or my buddy Russ, but when we dropped my boat trailer off the ramp 2 weeks ago, I was about to lose it, and one of them said, "Don't, just calm down, and we'll get figure this. Don't lose it." And I'm like, "All right." It was that was sketchy. I didn't know how we were going to get that off, but we worked through it. We got it off.
Yeah, I think it was on the Fishathon tournament. There was like a live bait, sudden death kind of thing. We literally stayed in the same spot the entire time, like tied up to the wall in between the generators below Chickamauga Dam. We were just fishing with night crawlers to catch dinks, because you just had to catch a fish, stay alive.
Yeah.
but since we never started the motor and had the electronics going the whole time, we were there for probably 8 hours total. And then when we went to fire it up, it wouldn't start. So it's dark and we're over here messing with jumper cables. And then all of a sudden on the back of the Yamaha, there's like a ground wire down above the prop, and it just starts like turning red hot and catches on fire.
I see flames shooting up from
Flames
the stern
come
of
off
the
the
boat.
back of the boat. And I'm just like, Bob, kick water at it. Like, he's like, it's an electrical fire.
Oh,
You should
man.
kick water on.
That was another my bad dude moment for sure.
Yeah, we set the boat on fire.
Oh yeah, Creole was talking about his trolling motor batteries because when I showed up to fish with him, somehow the charger, I don't know if it was so cold, but they just didn't get charged up. So we tried to spot lock at the beginning and we were just getting pushed off our mark. We ended up just having to drive his boat onto the bank to fish when we finally got on him.
What's up, Ed? Now, I think, but I'm not sure, that everybody knows how and why you guys come up with the team name, My Bad Dude. But for maybe the couple people that's been under a rock for a while, you mind sharing that story with us? Because honestly, I think it's funny.
Go ahead, Brandon.
I think Bob tells it better, at least for the last part. But like, we were fishing the river gorge. And what was it, like 80K of current down there?
80,000 that day.
So I have the wise idea to go over by the bank and throw the anchor down above this eddy line called Dead Man's Eddy, which should have warned you about something.
Been there.
So after we finish up fishing, we can't get the anchor out, and we're like pulling it with the boat, and the rope's still on the front of the boat. We're trying to hit it hard, and it's just pulling my whole big boat. It's pulling it down in the front. Mm-hmm. So Bob's like, let's tie it back here to the stern. So,
let's tie it to the stern cleat and go forward, run past it, and we'll yank it free.
Yeah. So we tied it to that, hit it one time, and it just pulled the boat back, and we're just sitting there processing what's going on. And all of a sudden the boat goes sideways, and we're both like leaning, and the side of the boat gets closer and closer to the water. And I realized like I have to lunge for the rope and grab a knife as fast as I can and slice it, and then we pop free. And I just look over at Bob, and what did you say?
I said, my bad, dude. He said, I said, that's my bad, dude. I mean, I felt bad. Like his boat was only like a couple weeks old, it was like a brand new boat. Yeah, and we almost sunk it.
I had the adrenaline shakes after that, like no lie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, good Lord.
Brandon just whips out that little carburetor and it's okay, man.
Yeah, that's for everybody that's not used to fishing in current. You never ever want to be anchored from the back of the boat.
It was stupid. Ever. I mean, that was and if we'd have like immediately realized that wasn't going to work and then untied it, which is what we should have done, but we were kind of like, okay, what's next? And not even thinking about it the whole time. We're like talking to one another about what's next. Like the boat's drifting back at 5 miles an hour. Yeah. And the stern just starts dipping underwater. And I just kind of like, I'm leaning away from it, and Brandon like lunges, and the bait knife just happened to be laying right beside there. And he just, I was like, I haven't seen him move that fast since.
I've actually got away from it. But one safety tip I used to give everybody is keep a very, very sharp knife up by your anchor rope in case of an emergency like that. You can cut it quick. I used to have a really, really good knife that I kept up there that would cut even. I got some thick anchor rope, but it would cut it. But for those of you listening, find out quick.
A sketchy situation. If
he
hadn't have cut that rope, I mean, it would have probably pulled the boat under, because it was it's kind of, the river kind of narrows down right there.
Oh yeah, it's fast through there.
And it was ripping and muddy that day. It was bad. There is a video. Yeah, there is a video.
Tug drug fishing,
lunging at the rope.
Yeah, we did find some fish that day. It was like those super high current days are kind of the most predictable as far as finding fish in the current seams, or if you can find an island to anchor like in front of it where the water checks up on it, like that could be a good spot.
Thank you, Randy. Yeah, I agree. I feel like when you have high current, the fish are a lot more predictable. You kind of know, they're going to push out of the channels towards the banks, creek mouths, back eddies, current seams, and things like that. It's when it's crazy calm and they can just scatter everywhere. Of course, that's when dragging becomes your best friend, and you got to cover a lot of water. You got to think, if only one out of 100 fish are going to eat today, you're going to hit their bite window at the same time they're ready to eat window. You got to present your bait to a lot of fish to have a successful day. So,
yeah, we've caught a lot of fish during these tournaments this year, dragging. I mean, that's been one of our go-tos. Brandon knows this, but yet he still tortures me with it. I hate anchor fishing. It's one of my least favorite ways to fish. I like to be moving.
Yeah.
Even if it's at 0.5 miles an hour. But in some situations like high water, I mean, like you're just talking about, the high water isolate kind of pushes fishes in closer to structure and in tighter spots. It's the thing to do. But I absolutely hate it.
Hey, welcome in, Tom, LG Bass. And I know I've seen quite a few of you pop in here, and I hate to ignore anybody. I'll be honest with you, I got kind of caught up in the conversation, and I try to keep up with chat. Now I'm realizing I'm slacking on chat over here, but I just enjoy talking fishing with you guys. And like Bob was live yesterday, tying rigs and stuff, and it's good to share some of this stuff. So 35 foot is like your magic point. Do you guys ever fish? I know we kind of talked about you could possibly fish up to 2, 3, 4 foot. Do you ever typically target that type of area, or do you feel more comfortable in the 30, 35 foot of water, and you kind of stick around that unless the fish tell you otherwise? What's up, Chad?
I think all the times I've gone super, super shallow, or like when the river was at like flood levels and water's pushing back up into creeks, I think that's probably when I go the most shallow, I would say.
I got you.
Yeah, we don't target that kind of shallow depth very often. I think sometimes we'll, like at night, not that long ago, we were dragging some creeks in 7 to 10 foot of water, dragging across some old creek channels.
That's pretty shallow.
Yeah. And I started playing around with turning my big light off because I thought we were spooking the fish, and I started turning the light off, and actually we started catching fish. So I was like, a light bulb went off in my head. And that's the problem with filming and fishing is if you're in shallow water, I think you risk scaring the fish with, if you got your boat all lit up like a Christmas tree, I think you risk spooking the fish. So I've kind of learned to, if you'll watch some of my dragging videos that I put out this year, you'll notice that it's dark, and then you'll hear me say something, and then the light will come on. As soon as we hook up with a fish, I'll go run, turn the complex on. So you got to kind of find a balance of what you're doing.
And if you have to keep that light on, you need to run those boards like way out.
Away from the boat.
With dragging, the best fish are always caught on the last board for me, like as far away from the boat as possible, where you're not disturbing anything. Yeah.
If you guys, seen us on the James River, we was fishing some shallow flats and creeks and stuff that we could find, and we was in 4 foot of water. When you're 4 foot of water and your trolling motor's down, you're disturbing the fish, whether you want to or not. You are. And we ran our boards. I mean, way out. Matter of fact, I think Bob you might have been on screen with us at that day when Zach had his boards over and the water was so shallow, his float on his leader was out of the water on top.
Yeah.
And that's the board. And that's the bait that got smacked. Top water. So, I mean, as far as I like to fit, we like to fish. We're getting more comfortable with shallow. We never used to be, like you said earlier, like 8 to 10 foot was shallow to us. But now we're kind of trying to get more comfortable with 2 to 5 foot. And it's surprising how often those fish will be that shallow.
Yeah. It makes me wonder depending on the reservoir, I think that's probably, and like, I mean, there's so much more deep water on the Tennessee River, Lake Chickamauga than there is. Like, if you compare the area of shallow water to the area of deep water, I feel like our fish spend more time, our big fish spend more time on those channel edges and moving in and out of the creeks rather than being up on shallow flats. I think there's certain situations when they're up on those flats feeding, but I don't think they stay there. You know, I think they're just coming in and feeding and moving back out.
And for us, that's why we like targeting, because there's only one reason for them to be there, and that's to eat. So if you do encounter fish up on those flats, for us, it's kind of like our dam. Our dam, you know, most likely the fish don't live at the dam. They don't stay there. They might get up in them holes close to the wall, but I'd say 90% of the fish at dams, they're there to eat, and then they back off into their, you know, into their areas they prefer to be in. But that's not where they prefer to be. That's just where they got to go to get the most food. And so I feel the same way about flats. If they're there, they're feeding, and if they're not there, you'll find out pretty soon that they're not there.
Yeah. That's what I tell people about the dam and bumping. I feel like that's like the all you can eat buffet.
Yeah,
and they're moving in and out of there all day long feeding. And I tell people, I was like, the reason I'm successful bumping there is because I'm just feeding them. Yeah, I mean, they come there to eat, and I'm the waiter. I'm bringing their plate to them.
Chef Bobcat. Let's see if that's
right. I mean, I'm just feeding them and taking the picture with them and letting them go. So, yeah, I think places like that are definitely just, you know, they're like giant all-you-can-eat buffets for a big fat catfish.
And for us, that's, you guys see us, that's the first place. If you took me to any river system and dropped me off, I didn't have any idea what was what, I would go to the dam. I would start at the dam and then figure things out from there, because that is 9 times out of 10, you know, like you said, that's where the majority of the food is, majority of the year. And you're going to find fish there. And if you find fish there, they're generally actively feeding. They're not there just to hang out. They don't want to sit there in that crazy current.
No.
For absolutely no reason. And but that's why you see us fish dams so much, as it's one, we're comfortable there. A lot of people are not comfortable. Bob, you know, I'm sure, you know, ask people to go bumping or whatever, and a lot of people just aren't comfortable getting up that close to the dams. Hopefully with the help of social media and guys like you and Brandon out there, you know, putting content out that are showing people that, you know, it's not as dangerous as you think it is, but you do have to respect it.
Yeah, you sure do. You have to just use some good common sense.
Yeah. So, Roger, fishing Ohio River flats, do you experience them being basically fields of grass and weeds? I'm on upper, no depth. For the most part, no. We don't generally experience a lot of grass and weeds. We'll have more gravel, flats, and sand. More sand than anything, I would say. But there's a couple of areas that Skip's in here. Skip kind of got onto an area a few years ago that was super shallow and all sand, and you know, it holds a lot of heat, and it holds a lot of bait, and that holds a lot of fish. And it's been very consistent for us over the last few years. You know, we call it Skip's spot because he was the first to stumble onto it, and you know, it's a consistently good spot, but it's sand and it's pretty shallow. And we've got several of those now that we target that mimic those type of situations that are real shallow sand. And
Dead Sea Pirate, 120 feet. That's the deepest I've ever caught a catfish.
Woo. Yep. That's deep.
Yep. There's some holes down on between Suck Creek and Raccoon Mountain that are that deep.
We found one that was 140 something.
Yeah, I think there's one down there. It's like 140.
Yeah. I was right there, right around 140. I don't know how you guys are. Maybe more comfortable because you're accustomed to that type of depths. We don't see that here. Matter of fact, I got to go several miles downriver to even get to 35 foot of water. 25 foot of water is my average depth. So for me, anything over like 50 foot, I'm usually not that comfortable with. Do you guys find yourself feeling the same way, or do you guys all in on 100 foot?
Always look at it.
Yeah, I'd look
we'll
at it.
scan around it.
A lot of our river is like averaging 40, 50 feet, so I'm super comfortable with that depth.
Right.
And depending on the time of the year, I've like done really well deeper than that, like suspend drifting in 75 to 80 feet. You can just go through and scan for them and see it. But
Are you dragging through that, or are you suspending?
the snaggy, rocky areas down there, we're typically suspending over the top of it. But there are sections that have more of a mud bottom you can drag through, and so we just wait till the current's super low to do that dragging on the river, like 10K or down, like pitiful current, maybe 15 down.
Yeah. When it gets that deep, I feel like everything's going to be a tangled mess. You try to suspend. Even we've had some monster takedowns on Raccoon Mountain. I believe Zach was hooked up with a monster flathead. I just grabbed his bait and sucked that rod clear down over the side of the water, 4 eyes deep, if Harley's listening. And 4 eyes deep, and man, just was smoking that rod. And I'm pretty sure he just came up and grabbed it and went right down in. You guys know that it's completely full of wood and debris at the bottom of those, the mountains come down and the water starts, but that just keeps going down to the very bottom. It's just a huge gully, basically, and everything lays in the bottom. And you have a hard time getting through there without hanging up something. But
yeah, that's one thing that's bad about suspend drifting down there is you're not just sitting there, like, you don't just drop your rods down, reel them 3 feet off the bottom and just kick back. You're constantly having to raise the baits, drop the baits, raise the baits, drop the bait. You'll see the rod tip go like this, and you'll have to make a 10-second decision. Is that a fish or is that hitting rod? And depending on what you think it is, you either reel it up or wait on the fish to take it. So suspend drifting down in the gorge is it's an adventure.
We usually stick to like 4 rods when we're suspend drifting, and 2 are Bob's, 2 are mine. He's got a swivel chair on his boat, so I can turn each way and be checking my rods every time.
I don't have that boat anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
It's gonna be different now. But yeah, when we had my G3, the chair swivels, so like you'd have one rod out here and one rod out here, and you could just turn and make an adjustment, or turn and make an adjustment. Now we're gonna have to get up and move around.
Yeah. Well, you could reach both sides of the boat.
Yeah, you could.
And those fish will come up off the bottom to hit your bait, because me and my buddy Austin have watched it on the live scope. Like our bait was maybe 6 to 7 foot off the bottom, and we just saw the fish on the screen go vertical, hit it, and try to go back down. So they have to be right there against them in the danger zone. They'll come up and get it.
Yeah, that's pretty wild to see. That's one of the things I love so much about the live scope is it's not so much that catches more fish, but we learn so much about fish behavior, I think, is the more fascinating side to me. Just like when we had you on the show, probably been about a year ago now. That's
been a minute.
Yeah, you had the live scope, and the fish were laying, just where you've been fishing at the nuke plant. They were laying on top of the pipe, the bubbles going around their bellies like a jacuzzi.
Yeah, and it was the same way Saturday in that tournament. They were just stacked in there.
Yeah, they were just swimming there, and you could see them kind of come up and inspect your bait and then swim back down. And when we were looking at them on the live scope, when the last time we did it, Brandon was like just trying to crappie fish for them and dropping the bait down in their face, and you could see them come up and just sniff at it and then just swim away from it. That's frustrating. I mean, that tells you right there that just because the bait smells good and it looks delicious, that don't mean they're going to hit it, even if you got it that far away from them. So I think that's what we dealt with on Saturday. They just weren't in the mood to eat. And what does the water temperature change 0.2 degrees that just kind of kicks in the desire for them to eat? I don't know. I don't understand it.
If we knew that, we'd be rich. But I don't know what triggers the bite window to open as opposed to closing. More science there than what my mind is able to absorb. But that's what keeps us coming back. The unknown.
Oh yeah, the mystery of not knowing what's going to happen.
It's the pursuit of opportunity, I think, because any given moment you have the opportunity to catch a fish of a lifetime. And
isn't that magical?
Yeah. And that's why we
do this crazy thing.
Yeah, because if you think about it in a nutshell, what we do absolutely makes no sense. If you try to explain how much money and time we spend chasing a catfish just to take a picture and turn it free, well, we sound kind of silly to most people.
Yeah. That's the first question I always get when I tell people I catfish. They're like, "Do you eat them?" And I'll be like,
No.
"Sometimes," but they're like, "You eat those big ones?" I'm like, "Nah, throw them back."
Yeah.
What are you doing it for then? Why are you out there?
I eat them.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, I just like to hug them, take their picture, and put them back. I mean, what's wrong with that?
That's it. Catfish crazy. There you go, Benoit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good series. Chris Souders did.
Yeah.
Catfish crazy.
Brandon made the comment today in chat that he said, I'm exhausted, but I really want to go fish the pipe again.
Yeah. I'm ready.
I'm really worn out, but I'm ready to go fishing
in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So we've had all this freezing cold temperature, and Friday here is supposed to be like 47, which is like that's smoking hot compared to what we got right now. Because I think tomorrow the morning's supposed to be like 9. I was going to try to sneak out and go hit, but I wanted to go hit our warm water discharge down Gallipolis. That's the top of my list to go try. One, I got to see if there's any fish hanging out there. We got that tournament coming up. Two, I just want to go fishing real bad.
Yeah. And I tell you, I've been since I got this new boat a couple weeks or a month or two ago, or wherever it was.
Yeah,
it's got all these cool electronics on it. I've been just having a ball playing with a lot, learning I don't really use side imaging a lot. I never have, but I've been really like sitting and spending some time staring at the screen and kind of. I even kind of got in Brandon's boat on Saturday and was showing him some tweaks that I've learned with the Helix, the Mega. It's the Mega imaging, but there's little tweaks that you can do in there that really cleans the screen up, and you can get a better picture with it. And I showed him what I learned here in the last month or so playing with mine. I'm like, yeah, you can get the clarity up, and you can see the little fish better. And so we've been really been playing with our electronics and learning more and stuff, but I've been having a ball. All that iLink stuff is just, man, that stuff is cool.
I have all that and I have it all hooked up. I ain't been on the water enough with my new unit to play with it and learn it. I've got Lake Master cards. The problem we have down here, you got to build all your own maps. So
that's crazy.
Our river doesn't have, there are areas of the Ohio River that are mapped, but they're few and far between. So most of I'd say 90% of the areas I fish, I got to map it myself before I can use any of my functions.
Yeah.
There you go. Eddie River Junkie said, how have you not used side imaging? You'd be lost without it. Yeah, I feel the same way. If I had to choose one between side, down, or 2D, it would be side scan, 100%.
Yeah. Well, I will say I don't use it. I'm just using it more now than I used to.
Yeah.
I think it's a great tool to find fish, to kind of locate where fish might be hanging out. But once you kind of figure out where the fish are at, then I'll go to down imaging or 2D to, kind of target in on them.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. We see a school of fish or a couple of big marks we think is good. We'll drop a waypoint on it. Now, if the water's deep enough, we don't like to run over fish in shallower water, but we'll circle back around and then we'll run over that fish with 2D to see what color he is. So, man, that's a big mark. Is it a catfish? And then, unless we get a really good image on the side scan to tell, for sure. But yeah, we do the same thing. I put an enclosure and a diesel heater on the boat. Then the water froze. So frustrating.
One suggestion, catch fish with flamethrower on the bow.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. I think it'd be hard to go wrong. I was trying to find the link here for. I know Hog Legs making his debut back after our show tonight.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'm going to Where in the world is it? I'm going to make sure we get out of here on time tonight to give everybody a chance to get over there. But I was going to drop his link in chat here, and it was just there a second ago. And I scrolled up, and it went away. I'm going to drop the link in here so anybody wants to continue talking tonight and hanging out. The return of Hog Leg tonight. Those of you that got to hang out and talk to Hog Leg and in the mornings and stuff. Him and KP, obviously KP is no longer with us, but Hog Leg carried on the show and had several guests come up in the mornings, and kind of like what Buggy's been doing now, through the mornings. It's just a great place to go hang out. It's like reading a paper in the morning. You catch up on your local news, and you get to say good morning and hello to your fishing friends and family, and then throw a jab or a poke in there if you can.
Oh yeah,
iPilot Link is a fabulous tool. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I know that it has huge advantages and potential. I just haven't been smart enough to figure out how to. Well, I haven't been on the water much yet since I got the cables and everything. Because that's the bad thing about Humminbird. They will nickel and dime you to death for cables and connectors. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, you got to have those stupid adapter cables to the Ethernet cable, and then my boat is just full of wires now. I bought it all with all that crap on it, but I had to rewire all the power supplies for all the stuff that was connected to the iLink system because it wasn't getting the right voltage from the battery. It was all on the starting battery. And I found out that the Humminbird is extremely picky about voltage. If you're not running the right voltage, they don't like it. Brandon knows I was sitting there trying to figure that crap out, getting so mad, like just frustrated the whole trip and focusing on the electronics, and come to find out it was just a voltage issue. Once I put it on its own battery, everything fixed itself.
We just ran into the exact same problem. We went to a hotel when Zach and I went to the James, and hang on a second, I'm pinning that real quick. First night we plugged in outside at the hotel, we had power. So the second night we plugged in, we didn't, because everything's covered. You got to open the back hatch to check your battery charger and everything. Mm-hmm. We plugged everything in, looked good to go, went back out the next day, and boom, everything died. We're like, what the heck happened?
Oh, man.
We found out we don't know if we blew the breaker or they just shut the power off outside because there was Christmas lights up. Maybe they killed the power to everything outside for the Christmas lights. And, everything started acting real weird. Waypoints wouldn't even talk to each other on the two units, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
What's happening? We was fighting everything.
My rear unit, my Helix 9 that I have facing the bow, it would just randomly switch screens, and it would lose the transducer. Like it wouldn't be able to read the transducer. So you're right, River Junkies. That now all my electronics are on their own lithium-ion batteries. So I have eliminated any kind of voltage issues, hopefully.
Yeah. Eddie's right there. Need a dedicated battery for your electronics. I've ran that way for a long time. I ran problems several years ago, and once I isolated that battery just for the electronics, things have got a lot better.
Plus, I think a lot of times your motor, like the alternator from your motor, can cause interference with the pitcher, the hertz or whatever. It can affect your, if you got your motor on the same circuit as your electronics, it can affect that too. So having your electronics on their own battery is a good idea.
My boat motor is old and dilapidated. It ain't got no charging left to it. I'm happy it starts and runs. I just hug her every time I come back in. Thanks, girl.
Yeah. Got me home.
Get me home.
That sounds like every car I've ever owned. I'm like, you did. If I ever take a long trip in one, I'm like, you did good, old girl.
Yeah. Well, guys, man, I appreciate you stopping in and hanging out with us tonight. It was fun catching up with you guys. Again, congratulations on where you're at, and wish you the best of luck. I hope you guys finish just one spot behind us. And
Thanks for having us,
We'll do our
Roger.
best. Yeah.
Hopefully
thanks.
we can find 10 fish on the final. We'll see.
Yeah.
There you go.
Gumbo ready, Creel.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get the gumbo ready. Convoy coming down to the Louisiana. Got to win these tournaments.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey guys, I pinned a link up in the chat there for Hog Legs. I'm going to hop over there as well, and so hopefully you guys join me and welcome back Hog Leg to the scene. He's had a long road to recovery, and he's ready to come back and talk catfishing and all worldly things. You never know what you're going to get into talking on that show. So thanks everybody for stopping in, hanging out with us tonight. Great crowd tonight, great interaction. Great guests. Thank you guys again for taking the time to hang out. And we'll see you guys here next week. Same cat time, same cat channel. Good night, everybody. And we